my son's back from Sunderland for a couple of days, so
Oh, nice.
we were like hanging about today. We went over to the gym at lunchtime and stuff like that, and
Just doing guy stuff.
Yeah, well, he was showing me one of his arm workout routine, so we were doing all that sort of stuff over there, which was good. It was good fun, because the gym can be really boring if you're there on your own, because I usually just listen to a podcast. Not our podcast. That's like a top level narcissism, isn't it? Listen to, oh yeah, John, yeah, good remark, yeah. Oh.
Can you actually imagine though if someone said to you, "Oh, what you listen to?" and you're like, myself.
My content.
Yeah, sorry, I actually have my own podcast, sliding a business card across the gym.
Yeah.
Good morning, Vietnam! I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I feel the need for speed.
Roads? No, we don't need roads. Snakes. Why'd it have to be snakes?
I'm Spartacus!
I'm Batman. I am the father.
You're completely clean shaven?
Yeah.
When did this happen?
Friday. I shaved it all off on Friday.
Oh my god, I don't think I've ever seen you without like a wee beard or something.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I only really started, I was growing beards on and off during the pandemic, but no, you definitely have. In fact, there's photographic proof because at your birthday party, I didn't have a beard then.
Oh, right, I don't
Simi,
talk about that
you're mixing me up with Simi.
I don't talk about that birthday party because I don't know what happened. And whatever drunk Mary did, sober Mary is now not responsible for. So
Right, okay, right. If you say so, yeah, fair enough. Yeah. I'm off next week for the full 5 days, obviously for the festival, nice. And I'm going to try and catch up with some other stuff as well, some other movies and stuff at Cineworld while it's still open. So,
God, I know. Do you think they'll all go genuinely?
Well, if they don't find a buyer for them, and I can't see any other chains stepping in to cover them because they'll be in the same sort of situation. None of them will be looking to expand or anything, and
no,
cinemas are losing money, so it's not a sort of a viable industry for investors to get into, really, is it? They're not going to.
No.
It's not good.
It's funny though, because I always thought, like, obviously, like during the pandemic and stuff like that, and they were like, "Oh, Tenet's going to save cinema," and then it was like Spider-Man's going to save cinema. But I honestly thought because Top Gun Maverick had done so well, I was in the cinema forever. In fact, I think it is still shown at some cinemas. That I just thought, all right, okay, maybe things are getting back on track. But I don't know if they've just maybe got
films.
Yeah, I just feel like you can't have a cinema that just shows Top Gun or whatever. Like, you need the mix of the wee indie horrors and it just seems, but at the same time, how do you do that? There's no viable product that can do all of that. I don't know. I just feel like the whole thing's a mess.
It was like that before the pandemic. There was a mixture of like really big releases that made all the money and smaller releases that, what do you say? They managed to wash their face. That's a way of saying, they made a bit of money. They made their money back, but audiences are down since return to people. It's a mix of things. It's cost of living. That luxuries are the first thing to go. So if you've got a Netflix account, that's what £12, £14 a month.
Yeah,
and that's for the month. You can sit and watch as many movies and TV shows as you want. Whereas if you're going to the cinema, and if you don't have a card like what we have, then I mean, it's what, £12-13 in Cineworld, and it's even more expensive. Odeon's even more expensive.
Is it?
Yeah. The one down at the Quay can be about £18 for a ticket. I know, it's ridiculous.
Oh my God, you can buy DVDs for cheaper.
Exactly. That's.
So the GFT's £11, which I think is really reasonable because it's a nice cinema and you can drink in it. So I'm happy to pay my £11. But I think that, I suppose, if you've got even say like Prime and Disney Plus or Netflix and Disney Plus or any sort of combination of these kind of streaming services, even if you only have one or two, then I suppose you can watch that at any time. It doesn't have to be because the cinema says it starts at 2:00 on a Saturday. And a lot of films, if you think about it, in the past wee while have done like dual streaming cinema releases. So obviously the big winner at the BAFTAs, All Quiet on the Western Front, Netflix.
It had a very limited cinema run. I think it was there just for like a week or something, just to sort of qualify, I think, for some of the awards that necessitate that they have to have a cinema experience as well as a streaming one. But yeah,
I bet you that stops being a criteria soon enough.
It will do, yeah. I mean, it's... Well, I don't know, because Netflix are actually moving from that. I mean, look what they did with Glass Onion. They put that in cinemas for a week with... They partnered up with certain cinema chains and showed them for a week, and apparently it was really, really successful. There was real crowds, and they could have made a lot more money. That's what they said. It wasn't a mistake to pull it early. That it was always going to be they were going to take it off after a week, because then it would build up sort of word of mouth for the film when it actually hit Netflix. Not that it particularly needed it, but that was their sort of promotional strategy. But I think we'll see that more and more. You'll see stuff getting out there into cinemas for a limited period, like maybe ahead of a premiere. But yeah, they don't want, because look, they have to split the profits with the cinema chains and with the distributors and all that. Whereas if it's on Netflix, it's all theirs. You know, they make all the cash if they're actually making money, because you just never know these days.
I know, because they don't release their viewing figures, don't they? Don't. So you never really know. I also just wonder as well, like, it's maybe different from even say 5-10 years ago, because TV or like series are really good and people are willing to do. So The Last of Us obviously is released weekly. So is Succession, and there's a few others like the Disney Star Wars series. They're not a binge watch. They are actually getting people to come back week after week because the quality is there. And I do also wonder as well if that has a small part to play in that the quality of the TV series on these streaming platforms is actually, it is really good.
Yeah, I think, again, it's a bit of a marketing strategy, because if you're putting a TV show out there, and if it's something like The Last of Us, you're wanting to drag in new viewers while that's ongoing. So whereas if they throw everything at it, throw 10 episodes on on a streaming service, people are going to watch it, and then it loses its sort of zeitgeisty moment. Yeah, and it moves on to that. But whereas if you're running over 10 weeks, it's building up an audience, and people are saying, "Oh, you should get this," and people say, "Oh, how to do that?" You know, Now TV subscription or whatever, you know, something like that. Because Disney do that with pretty much every series that they've got. No, not Disney. Apple do that. They release maybe 2-3 episodes at the most, and then the rest of it is on a weekly basis.
Although Disney have done that with Andor, Mando, and what's the one that Only Murders in the Building. So you don't get all the episodes of that at once as well. Whereas Netflix, I mean, I watched all of Drive to Survive season 5 over Friday and Saturday night, and therefore that's that gone out of my life. Like, so that's it done. Can move on to something else now. So yeah, maybe they're missing a trick by not actually just making you wait and want a wee bit more.
Yeah, I think they're trying to do a wee bit of a mixture. Obviously, with some of the Netflix stuff, they have deals with like American producers, so they show the program worldwide after it's shown in the States. And if it's episodic in the States, then they're showing it in the same way, because you do get that with some things. You always see these new episodes available, or available every Thursday or whatever like that. But yeah, they all do it slightly differently. It was a selling point at one point, wasn't it, to be able to watch everything, new season of something, bang, there you go. You can watch it at your own pace. You can watch it over, a day, or you can watch it over a couple of weeks. I tend to watch things over a couple of weeks, even if it's all available, because there's other stuff I want to watch. I don't want to watch that. I watch maybe 3 or 4 or something, unless it's really gripping and I want to know what happens. But what I would do in that sort of situation with the ones that do weeklies, leave it for a couple of weeks, so I've got a couple to watch.
I did that with Andor. The only reason we binged Drive to Survive is I really wanted to see if I could spot us in the crowds, and I was like, maybe the next episode. No, you can't see us for shit. So, but yeah, it was worth it as well, because the new season of Formula One obviously starts next weekend. So actually, it was quite nice timing to binge all of that and then go straight into.
Yeah, it's good. I've not watched any of it, but it looks pretty good, and they're really punting it on the service. It's right up there on the front page of everything. I suppose because it's quite new and everything as well, I suppose.
Yeah. It was definitely a gateway drug for me. I haven't watched any Formula One before that, and I get so caught up in the sort of personality politics and what driver do you like and who comes across like a knob and all this sort of thing. So even if they're obviously a really good driver, if you don't like them on Drive to Survive, it does kind of put that weird, like, I don't know, it's hard to explain it. I didn't realize it was a sport that was so like individual and so personality driven, because I kind of thought it was just like, get in the car and drive, but they all have their own sort of shit going on, and it's quite interesting that way to see where the wee rivalries are.
Yeah, it's amazing the way that they put these programs together and actually pull you in. They obviously construct it like a drama. Mm-hmm. So there's highs and lows and everything. It's a well-used formula within sort of storytelling. It's just a very good way of telling a story, because they've done it for so many things. They've done it was it All or Nothing? They're
so good. Yeah, the football ones. Yeah,
the football ones. Yeah, I was watching the Arsenal one, and Leslie was watching it as well, and she was getting total into it, and she hates football. But
I know, it's like you don't even have to like the team; you're just so drawn into it.
Yeah. It's amazing the way they do it. It's very clever, and like you say, it's almost like a gateway drug in a way, So it's not a good thing sometimes.
No, a very expensive trip to Monaco just to see if I could see myself on the telly.
Well, you have to have a hobby.
That's true. But I would recommend it, because genuinely the personality thing is what makes it so interesting, and they do all those things like, what does the championship have in store for you next season, and then they just sort of like focus in on the person, and they're about to say something and it cuts to something else and it's somebody else slagging them off, and you're just like, oh, I love it. It's like a soap.
Yeah. Well, it's the same idea with reality TV stuff, isn't it? All these like Selling Sunset and all this sort of stuff, and Below Deck.
Are you a fan?
No, I'm not. I am aware of them, and I have watched some of them because they're obviously on in the house. I have
just on in the background. It's front and center. Leslie and my daughter Julie are sitting watching some of these.
The one they're watching just now is the influencer agency one, the Scottish one. Have you seen that? It's on iPlayer.
The trailer made me cringe quite significantly, but I was wondering, and this is going to sound really sad, but even from like a marketing perspective, like, would it be interesting to watch? But
I think it would actually. Well,
is it?
I don't have much time for the whole influencer culture. Mm-hmm. I think it's people who don't really have very much
job?
They don't have a job, and they don't want a job. But the people who are actually running the agency, it's these two young women, and they've obviously worked really, really hard, and obviously they've got an image to uphold because they're representing all these influencers. But the work that they're putting into this is actually quite exceptional. That's what makes the program, because you're focusing on them. You're seeing all the influencer stuff, but it's all the drama that goes on with like putting on like an influencer show and all a showcase and all this sort of stuff. So despite my better self, I actually sat and watched a couple of episodes of it, and it's really interesting, because you're kind of saying, well, yeah, these people are working really hard. They're doing what they love, but they're also really going for it, and they're totally dedicated to it. So if you go over the sort of superficial side of it, it actually works really well. I surprised myself. Don't know if I'll watch. I'll actually seek it out and watch more of it, but it's very well put together, for what they're trying to do. And just, I mean, the whole point of it was that they don't have agencies like that in Scotland. It's all London and Manchester based, because that's where the main sort of fashion capitals are in the UK. So if you wanted to get any sort of representation and actually get jobs and, these gigs promoting whatever snake oil they're promoting this week, then, you need somebody to do that for you. And there wasn't anybody local doing that. So
I suppose it is interesting. I guess for me, it's like, if I, for example, follow like, I don't know, say like H&M on Instagram or something, like I'll look at their Instagram and I'll go, oh, that's quite a nice top, or that would maybe make you want to buy it. I haven't ever come across an influencer per se where I've gone, oh, that would make me want to buy an outfit. Or like everyone was peddling those hair things for a while, the things that gave you mermaid waves. I remember that was a thing on Instagram, because I kept getting sponsored posts. But not once has it ever made me go, oh, I need a mermaid waver or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I find the whole concept of influencer marketing a bit weird. I'm not saying I'm immune to it, because obviously I do look on Instagram and I think, oh, I quite like to wear that, or, you know, paint the walls that colour or whatever. But yeah, I find it a very strange concept.
Yeah, but it's one that is reaching you in a way that traditional advertising wouldn't reach you, because more and more we're watching television without adverts. We don't take note of like radio and all that sort of stuff anymore, not in the same way. So where the eyes are, that's where they like to punt this sort of stuff. So it is on TikTok and it's on Instagram and what have you. So it's all over these sort of platforms. So yeah, I can understand why. Yes, it's not aimed at me. I fully accept that none of this is aimed at me. But I'm sure there are some dapper older gentlemen influencers as well that would probably go, oh,
John, you would clean up. Can you imagine if people just saw you in like nice coats and stuff? They'd be like, I want to look like that guy.
Yeah, just for the sheer comedy value alone, yeah.
No. Although I was saying to my colleagues the other day, I was like, I just feel too old for TikTok. Like, it just feels like that's a whole other generation, like, of users that it's like they're talking a different language.
Yeah, well, that's the way of it. I mean, I accepted that a long time ago, that you don't try and keep up, because either you get hopelessly lost and you just don't know what's going on, or you get so far into it that you just sound really artificial and a bit daft, because people who are actually know what they're talking about can suss you out and go, nah, you're just talking shite, mate. You know, this isn't. You just have to accept at some point things aren't for you.
They're not for
and
you
it's
anymore.
not. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the thing, because there are things for you, and I'm not saying you personally. I'm saying anybody that, you know. There's always something that, you know, something around the corner that you can get into, and it's not necessarily age appropriate, but it may be sort of area appropriate for you, obviously, out in the countryside.
The thing is, I just think I don't need any more life hours to lose to an app.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, you know, I was looking at stuff the other day, and I was obviously trying to plan my film festival spreadsheet, and I was working out what I was going to watch when, etc. And then I was like, God, I would be so much more productive in life if I just got off my phone and did other things.
Well, everybody would, and I'm exactly the same. You know, I'm always looking at something. What I've had to do actually now is like see the Facebook Reels. I've muted those on my feed, because anytime I come across them, I go, no, I'm not going to look at. Oh, look at that! Oh, what are they doing with the basketball this time? You know, and you're like, for fuck's sake, you know. And before you know it, you've been watching things for 30 minutes, and you're going,
I know.
You know, I could have been doing so many other things. You know, not necessarily decent, worthy things, but just other things. Yeah, something.
Yeah, no, I feel the exact same way. There's only so many videos where you can guess, is it cake or not, before you've literally just sat at the edge of your bed, towel on your head for about 25 minutes to 45 minutes going, I've lost quite some precious time now. So yeah,
the only ones I seem to skip are the ones where it comes up and says, you won't believe what they did. And then they don't actually do anything. You only get caught out with that maybe about 17 or 18 times before you get wise to it.
Sitting waiting for a 3-minute video to end, and you're like, oh, nothing happened.
Oh, we started again. Oh, brilliant. Yeah. I feel great now, having watched
I know.